Alright team, we're here with a new type of video today. So I've been playing a lot of the new Total War Warhammer 3, which granted definitely isn't as good as 2, but give it time. 2 wasn't the best upon release either. So I figured I'd make a video on each faction going over the mechanics of them so that if you are waiting for the Immortal Empires campaign where it combines all 3 games, or if you just haven't gotten around to trying out Warhammer 3, you can at least see the faction effects, see like which ones you want to start with, whether it be Cathay or Kislev or one of the demons or anything like that. So I thought I'd just get started, see if this helps anyone on figuring out a campaign they'd like to play and see how the aspects of the campaign work before they even start the game. So let's get started. We're going to start with Cathay. I finished a campaign as Cathay. I really enjoy their play style, so I thought I'd kind of go over it for everybody. So they have a couple different things you always have to keep in mind. The big one is harmony. They are all about yin and yang. Their whole focus is, like matching it. You want to have the equivalent yin to the equivalent yang, depending on which legendary lord you start with. One starts with +3 yin, the other starts with +3 yang. Basically, the way to think about it is yin is more focused on like missile attacks, that kind of a thing, whereas yang is focused on melee attacks and up close and personal type combat. So you'll see like the Dragon Guard, the Jade Warriors, they're all yang focused because they're front attackers. But then you have people like crossbowmen, archers that are all yin focused because they're missile fighters. So you always want to keep that. There's yin and yang on the battlefield as well as yin and yang on the campaign map. So you need to keep track of both. So right now, because we started with Miao Ying, we start with 3 yin because she is focused on missiles, and she like gives bonus to ammunition for all of her army's missiles. So there's 3 big things with Cathay. That is the harmony aspect, the Wu Ying compass, which that one doesn't, like, it's still good to know about it and do it, but it doesn't come into play nearly as much as trying to harmonize and all that. And then the Ivory Road. The Ivory Road I love, so we're definitely going to go over that as well here. So yeah, this is basically when you start a campaign. You're up in the northeast section, right behind the Great Wall, which is trying to keep out the chaos. And there's 3 gates, similar to if you played Total War Warhammer 2, similar to the High Elves, where they have all those gates. This is similar here with Cathay. So yeah. So basically, the way you even out your harmony when you're playing Cathay for the first time is choosing which buildings to build. So you'll see, let's see, so we go to military. Military has nothing to do with yin and yang when it comes to their buildings, so those are even. Same with the advanced military, but when you get to defense, you see how there's a yin symbol there and a yang symbol there. So there is different progressions for yin and yang, and you'll see like the differences. The yin one has better oh, sorry, this is the yang one. The yang one has better melee people when you upgrade their gate, whereas the yin people have better archers and so on when you upgrade their gate. So then the other way to do it also is the infrastructure. So you can go yang or yin on each building. So since we're starting with +3 yin, you'd want to start off building yang buildings primarily. So like either the wares market or the labor conscription or the conscription office. You'd want to focus on those ones because then you could even it out. Now you see like if you are, it doesn't like ruin your game if your balance is off, but you see like your income from yin buildings suffer, but your yang buildings are better. So whichever one you're not leaning towards is actually the one that's better. But you'll see down towards the bottom of this list, the harmony effects when they're equal are definitely worth trying to always keep it equal. And it may seem like a little much to keep track of, but it really isn't. Like, all it comes down to is as you start getting more and more buildings, you really just want to throw in a couple buildings to offset your starting general, and then it's easy from there on out to really just like build accordingly to keep the balance in tow. Because if you think of like mines, like a building that has 3 building slots, it's as easy as like maybe doing 1 military building and then you're having a yin and a yang building in the same spot. And that's really all it comes down to. You can keep pretty much everything pretty well even doing that. But the other way you can also affect it if you don't want to keep track of your buildings as much is your tech tree. So as you're working with your tech tree, if you go straight down the center, it doesn't do anything for yin yang, but if you want to, say, try to counterbalance that yin overage you have in the beginning, you just go up and it's all yang focused ones. Like all of these add +1 to yang, except for the ones, there are some that, see like this one here, that does +3 to yang. So if you want to counterbalance the yin, you can just go up. If you want to counterbalance yang, you can just go down. So if you find yourself building a lot more yin buildings than yang buildings, just go into the yang profile as far as tech goes. So it's really easy to balance. I know it does sound like a lot, but it's really easy to keep balanced throughout the game, and I really like the mechanic of trying to balance everything. It's a really, really cool mechanic. And then on the battlefield, how yin and yang works is if a yang unit is close to a yin unit nearby, then so they have to be 60 meters of a yin unit, then they get this bonus of leadership and melee defense. And just like with the archer units, if they're close enough to a yang unit, they get reload skill and leadership bonus. So they're all about having evened out armies where like you kind of keep things close to each other. And if you're worried about keeping your archers close to your like frontline warriors, then you do have things like sky lanterns, which are floating in the sky that just shoot down at things, but those also activate the yin bonus. So that your yang bonus people up front can still get that effect even though they don't want to stay close to your archers. So it's really cool how it plays out, because you kind of, it's nice. Like, it's a lot less doomstacky of a faction just because of the reason that, you know, with between yin and yang, you want to even out your people so that they're all getting the maximum benefit. So I honestly really like Cathay's playstyle. So that's kind of how yin and yang work. So then, if we go into the Ivory Road, you see they're basically trade caravans. So you start your trade caravan here, and then you can choose like, oh, I want to deliver goods to, let's go with, I could deliver goods to Castle Drakenhof down where the vampires are. And it says it'll take 9 turns to get down there. And then this is the little army the guy brings with, and you can send more cargo, in which case, yes, you're putting 1,000 cargo on the line, but at the end of those 9 turns, you'll get 4,500 in return. So it's kind of like investing your money, but at the same time, this caravan can get attacked on the road. So you want to make sure your caravan has enough defense, but it is really cool that you can send them out and get money in return. And then sometimes you get special items, like if you send a caravan to the Vampire Coast, you could get like a vampiric blade or something like that. I don't remember exactly what you get, but it's like cool little items like that. So again, really like this. It's just something kind of nifty to keep track of. You can send out less cargo if you don't think your army's that good, or more cargo if you've created a really good army down here. But that's all that is. It's basically just income you can get every 5 to 10 turns. That's pretty easy to work with. And then the Wu Ying compass is going to be this. So this I can't set yet in this game because I just started this game to show these types of things off. But essentially, you always get the effects in green, but the bar decays over time. The effects in gray you only get when the compass is pointing that way. So in the beginning of the game, after 3 turns, I could just point the compass to the Great Bastion, and I would get these benefits here. or I could point it to the Celestial Lake and get these buffs here for the income and everything. This is all really good in the beginning, the growth and income. And as it's pointed that way, it grows this bar. So you get more of that passive effect. But then once it gets to the top, you have to point it at something else, so you'll get the growth effect longer because it takes a little bit of time to decay. So basically every couple turns you're pointing it a different way, which gives you a bigger bonus in one section, but it decreases the bonus in another section. So if you're having issues with public order, you point it down here. If you're having issues with getting your buildings to grow quickly, you point it here, which is usually what you want to do in the beginning. If you're having issues with getting attacked a lot, you point it towards the Great Bastion. And yeah, and then this is if the chaos really gets into your section of the world, which they shouldn't, because you should be able to keep the wall. But if you know, some big stuff comes in, or if those rifts pop up, you want to point it down here. So that is essentially the mechanics of Cathay. I know this was just a quick overview, but I thought it would be kind of good just to go over this stuff in case you've been thinking about playing Warhammer 3, or if you're just waiting till Immortal Empires but you don't know what faction you're going to play, or you've been looking at it and like, oh, I'm going to play Empire as soon as I get into Warhammer 3. You should still know the other faction effects because it kind of helps you fight them. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it as far as like their very unique faction effects. So yeah, if you have any questions, leave them down in the comments, and yeah, I'll see how this video does and make some more so that you guys can kind of learn them before you start playing this game. But yeah, anyway, have a good rest of your day. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll catch you all next time. Bye.